Today on Rainbow Country, my Big Brother Canada coverage begins with my one-on-one interview with executive producer and host, Arisa Cox.
Hi, I'm Saida Garrett, co-writer of Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mr. Mark Tara.
And I'm recording here. Okay. This is fun.
Listen, I love meeting you here like this every year. I really do.
Virtually, Arisa Cox, virtually, as opposed to in person? How dare you?
Of course in person. But I know that it's been like almost a decade of you and I meeting before a brand new season, and that's very, very special to me.
Big Brother Canada, Season 9, Big Brother Canada Rises. Arisa Cox, what can you tell us about the season, about the theme? Are they competing in teams? Are there returning house guests? What can you share?
Oh my God. So many questions. Well, I can say that what happened last year is no secret on Big Brother Canada 8. COVID became not just a worry or a concern, but an actual reality that we had to deal with. And provincial guidelines made it impossible for us to continue the show, which was really tragic for a lot of people who love the show in terms of viewers, but the people who make the show, the house guests who are living out their dream by being on the show. It really was pretty tragic. And it made us really think about what we were doing here with this show. And then what followed was, of course, a year where the pandemic life really became life for everybody. And so for us, the fact that we're able to come back with, let me tell you, the strictest COVID protection protocols I've ever seen, we don't take any of that for granted. You know, we are really, really lucky, blessed. We've worked hard, all of that stuff to be here at this moment, on the cusp of another brand new, amazing season. And we feel like that. We feel like we're rising like the phoenix. You know, we feel like last year we had this comic book theme and superheroes and villains, but every comic book needs a sequel. And this is the sequel that we're giving. We're hoping that these house guests are able to finish the story that last year's house guests were not able to complete. And I think everybody is ready. Like, there's been no Survivor. There's been no Celebrity Big Brother. Like, this is it. People have been waiting for some really, really good Big Brother. And we aim to please, and we will provide.
Well said. Well said. Let's talk about the cast for season 9.
Yes.
Ethnically diverse,
Yep.
members of the LGBT community, including a trans member.
Yeah.
There's even a Black female police officer. Love her vibe. What are your thoughts on this cast, and how important was it for you personally to have an ethnically diverse cast, more so than ever?
I think a lot of conversations were had in 2020 that had been bubbling up. Now, I think, you know, I'm Black. My parents are immigrants from Trinidad. But I was born here in Canada. And some of these conversations that racialized people have had over the years in terms of reality TV, a lot of these conversations aren't new for us, but they may be new to some people who hadn't considered necessarily what it's like being somebody who feels invisible on television. And that diversity, I know that word gets overused so much, and so I say inclusion more now, but sometimes I feel like those words are overused. But really what it comes down to is, especially when you're making a show that so many young people watch, it's so important that we present a reality that feels true to a lot of people, where they see themselves. You know, for so many people, like to see it is to think about being it, right? When you see a huge range of people and a huge range of personality, even within, you know, culturally diverse groups or the LGBT community, you start to think differently about people, I think. And that's really the power of Big Brother, which of course is taking people from different backgrounds and sort of putting them together and see what shakes out. But a lot of times that intermixing, that diversity, it makes it more beautiful for everyone watching. I think normalizing the range of human experience and behavior, I think, is really important. And luckily, you know, that inclusion always has been really important to us. I think now was the time to kind of turn it up. You know, it was the time to say, no, this is intentional. And with that intention comes a lot of joy. Like, we had more numbers than ever. I mean, part of that was due to the pandemic. We didn't have a live casting tour, so it was easier for people, especially from different regions that we don't often get too many applicants from. But we had so many more people apply. And I think part of that was hearing that, yes, there is a place for me. Yes, if I am a minority, that they're only not looking to cast one, and I can't get in if that other one is. You know what I mean? We have that sense. Again, I'm talking generally about reality TV. Again, I think our show has done remarkably well over the years. But this was a really big opportunity for us to be intentional about having a really colorful, flavorful cast. And I think we pulled that off. I'm so excited about the house guests that we have.
So let's stay on the house guests. A contestant was removed before the season got started due to alleged claims of racism, homophobia, assault, alleged claims. That person was replaced, and this all happened within hours of the allegations coming to light. So by acting so swiftly, is there a message that Big Brother Canada is sending to its audience, to its fans? And also, is it sending a message to potential future house guests?
That's it's a great question. I think the show is very, very precious to us. We almost lost it last year. I think the house guest experience is very precious to us. I think the fan experience is very precious to us. I think if we are going to create this amazing space where people can see the potential of humanity and friendship and love and competition and that kind of spirit, I think we want to make sure that that's what we're providing. So I think because we don't take it for granted, I think we're extra careful, and we have to be doing reality. And
you want to protect something. You want to protect this that you've built.
Yeah. And it didn't happen by accident. Like, this is the work of, a visionary showrunner, Aaron Brock, amazing other executive producers. I'm one too, but there is Trevor Boris and Erica Bood and John Brunton as well. And there are so many people, from the loggers in the control room to the studio staff to everyone who takes care of the house guests and their needs in the house, to the set decorators and the art department and wardrobe. Like, there are so many people who poured so much into this that it's exactly what you said. It's really precious to us, and so we do want to protect it.
Yeah. Well said. So, Arisa Cox, from One Person of Color. Actually, I was born in Trinidad.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
No. Oh my God, we just missed Carnival Tuesday, which I'm sure was a little strange in the COVID era.
So from one person of color to another person of color, both with big fabulous hair, because we have both big fabulous hair, girl. 2020 was challenging. A pandemic, a racial reckoning happening. even in Canadian media. And I want to focus in on one particular person that came forward, Hal Johnson. I know many people that had experiences came forward as well. But Hal Johnson came forward to talk about his experience in the 80s about facing racism in Canadian media. But what I thought was so powerful about his story was essentially he made lemons into lemonade.
He sure did.
He sure did, because what he went through led him to create, with participation, Body Break that we all grew up with for like 30 plus years. Fantastic.
Incredible.
So my question to you is simply this: with you being raised to executive producer on Big Brother Canada, was Big Brother Canada, was that already something in motion, your promotion, or was it a way for Big Brother Canada to step up and meet this moment in history that we're living through right now by saying, by giving you a more of a voice?
I think both things can be true at the same time. You know, I think this was very much a natural progression. Canadian television is very fickle. We have a very small population. As you know, it's very hard to keep a show on the air for a long time. The fact that we're going into our 9th season is just about, it's almost unheard of in Canada. There's this hour is 22 minutes and like those traditional staples, but for a show this big with this expensive, this national, it is amazing that we are still here for season 9. So I think every year, people just assume, once a Big Brother is introduced in the country, it just stays forever. Well, in Canada, it hasn't worked that way before. So every year we're like, are we going to get renewed? And we have. We had a scare there after season 5, but we've been renewed every time. So every time, my understanding of the show, my experience of the show has been deepened. And then this year just provided such a great opportunity to do so much more sharing and for people to be even more open-minded to different perspectives and different opinions. But I have to give credit to our team. It was really, really important that we have a cast that feels good and special and different, and that we prove to other shows and franchises and networks that this is something that is, it's not, you're not losing something, you're only gaining something the more colorful the people you ask to come be on your show can be. So I think all of those things are true. I think this was a natural progression. I think this year provided new opportunities. And then it really took a production company insight and a network chorus to really say, no, let's do this. Let's do this for real. Let's not sort of play around. Let's actually make something really special and different. And hopefully you don't have to make grand pronouncements of percentages or whatever. Hopefully that'll never be necessary again. We always just want a really entertaining, funny, loving, competitive group of people. And that can look like anything you want it to. So I'm really pleased. It's really the power of intention. You have to want to do a thing. And I heard a really good quote the other day that was, if you are not intentional in terms of inclusion, then you are unintentionally exclusionary. If you don't think about it, you're doing the other thing, so you have to think about it. But I'm really happy. And it's so interesting, Mark. You've seen our genesis, you've seen our evolution. What do you think about how everything has shaken out this year?
I think it's fantastic. I think the fact that you are where you are now, being an executive producer, one of leading the ship. What I find fascinating is the fact that each year after the season, we never know. Is it coming back?
Yeah.
Is it coming back? We don't know. And that surprises me, because you think the people that make the decisions will say, yes, of course it's coming back. Renew it for another 2 years, another 3 years.
And that's how we feel. But you know what's interesting about Big Brother is that the one thing we have down that is very unique is appointment television. It seems to be more of a rare commodity these days, right? for younger people, we have a huge young audience. This is unique that it's like, oh, this is a show that's on TV.
Yes.
That you have to sit down and watch when it's on so that you can participate in the conversation afterwards, because it's not like sports. Like sports happens and people talk about it the second there's a winner or loser. Big Brother's not like that. And so, you have to be really careful with your spoilers, but it's such a multifaceted experience with appointment television on TV, but at the same time, you've got live feeds and all this other content online, plus the conversations that are happening on, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Instagram. Like it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. But I love that this is a show that people watch as groups. People watch with their friends. People, are on these huge text chains, going through what's happening. People watch with their families. People watch with their teenagers because they're able to talk about things that maybe they wouldn't otherwise. It's such a fun thing to do with a group of people. And everybody is like itching for some good Big Brother. So we've got a lot of eyes coming from the UK and the US and elsewhere around the world. We have random cult followings in Brazil and the Philippines, and we love it. We love it because we're really, really proud of the show we produce, and the fact that we have a lot of internationals also watching. Like, we're Canadian. We got something to prove, and I hope we proved it.
Last question for you. Our interview is going to be heard in the Yukon, in the prairies, in the Maritimes, in Ontario, online. If someone has not seen Big Brother Canada, but is listening to this interview right now, what would you say to that person to tune in?
I'd say,
where the hell have you been?
where have you been? Okay. Look us up. No, I would say very few shows that tick the amount of boxes that Big Brother Canada does, because we feature real people from Canada. We feature so much comedy and humor, so many unexpected twists and turns. I mean, that's also something we're known for on Big Brother Canada. We also have these like amazing moments of growth and learning that are organic, that are not like, now you're going to learn this. Like, things happen when people live together. And then there's also competition. If you like game shows or the challenge or sports shows or the Survivor, we've got these incredible challenges that we put our house guests through every year. And then on top of that, there's the psychological and sociological level of competing to be the last man standing, and what mentally people have to do to outwit each other. It is such a fun show. You will not regret trying. Dip in, come join us. The water is fine.
Arisa Cox, executive producer, host, Big Brother Canada. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, for all things Rainbow Country, follow me on socials at Mark Tara Music. The podcast for Rainbow Country is available on all major platforms. The official Rainbow Country playlist is out on Spotify, and everything is hooked up at marktara.com. Finally, I want to take this time to thank you for taking your time to be with me. Remember, stay well, stay strong, stay safe.
Hi, this is Emily Saliers from Indigo Girls, and you're listening to Rainbow Country.